Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 326 for December 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, LSU quarterback Jayden Daniels wins the Heisman Trophy, Army wins the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy, and Justin Herbert is the latest quarterback to have his season come to an end. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son Adam.
Yeah, we're about an hour and a half behind because we got some new microphones and
Yep.
we were trying to use a soundboard we've had and
New technology.
we can't get none of it to work. So we're going back to the old mics. We'll have to deal with it for another week. So hopefully we don't have any of that echoey crap.
Yeah.
I kind of want to stop and listen to make sure we're not getting any echo, but hopefully y'all can bear with us as we go along. Hopefully it won't be a super long show.
Yeah.
But yeah. If any of you are out there familiar with how to maybe set up a better audio setup, we would greatly appreciate it. Reach out to us, let us know, because I about threw the stupid thing out the window. So
Yeah, we got new microphones, much better microphones. We've got a soundboard that I've had for a while,
which I
and
think might be the problem,
well,
but
yeah, I don't know. I might have to try a simpler soundboard. I know they got ones just for podcasting that has like for maybe 2 mics or something like that. It might be all we need. This one's got a spot for 12 mics on it, and I don't know.
we'll figure it out.
We'll see. That's a discussion for another day. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the descriptions of both the podcast and the YouTube video, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle at the World of Football in the YouTube search bar. You will also find other selected videos on our YouTube channel, such as Just Lying Around, a Detroit Lions podcast, where this week they talked about the Week 14 game against the Bears.
Boo.
Yeah, that was awful. We're going to be posting NFL Power Rankings probably later tonight, and our weekly picks video will be recorded tonight and probably go up tomorrow.
Yep, that's the plan.
Yep. Okay. So let's begin today's show, and we're going to begin with Adam and the World of Football scoreboard.
That's right, everybody. It is week 14 in the NFL, and a bunch of craziness happened this week.
Wow. Yeah. You said a mouthful there.
Yep, starting on Thursday night, the New England Patriots upset the Pittsburgh Steelers 21-18. How about that? We'll talk about the Patriots a little bit more in a second because they did well. I guess we could just talk about it now. Despite them getting the win, eventually another team would win that would essentially eliminate the Patriots from the playoffs. So despite getting the win, the Patriots are eliminated for only the 6th time under the Bill Belichick reign as the head coach there, which is still something. Then on Sunday, you had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Atlanta Falcons 29-25. The Los Angeles Rams fell to the Baltimore Ravens 37-31 in overtime off of an incredible just punt return for a touchdown, which there was a clip of somebody having an illegal block in the back that was not called. But, I mean, we could talk about the officiating all day. We'll try to avoid that, but that's a big story later on.
Yeah,
but
several games that was officiating that.
Heck of an effort by the Rams. I mean, to still even take the Ravens to overtime. But the Ravens, pulling it out there, shows why they're still one of the best teams in the league.
Yep, the walk-off punt return for a touchdown in overtime by Baltimore's Tyron Wallace.
Yeah, it was a heck of a play. Like, I don't know if you saw the highlight of it.
I saw the highlight.
Well, I mean, of a quarterback, Lamar Jackson on the sideline freaking out as the whole play happened. So it was like a side-by-side, which was pretty cool. Then our beloved Detroit Lions, who are in the doghouse this week, as they fell to the Bears 28-13 in Chicago. Almost a tale of two halves, because first half, while the Lions eventually got stuff going, the end of half, we thought momentum was on their side. Yeah, all that disappeared as we go into the second half. The
Yeah,
Bears just clearly look like the better team, the better defense. Their coaching is still suspect, and I think kept the Lions in this game a little bit longer than the Lions probably should have been, but
yeah.
what an
Yes.
ugly game to watch.
Chicago was up 10-0, and then we took the lead 13-10 by halftime, and then we get shut out in the second half. We didn't even get a first down in the third quarter. That's totally unacceptable.
Yep.
That
So,
is, I mean, you can't blame the weather. You can only blame the players on this one.
well, I think you can blame the coaching. I think I said it on our show, fire Aaron Glenn.
Hmm.
I think it's time to move on from him this offseason.
Yeah,
Jared Goff is playing for his contract extension these next 5 games because this week was not it. He
Right.
cannot play like that.
They still have a chance to right the ship. They got 4 games left.
I get that, but man,
2 or 3 of them are winnable.
it is so discouraging though, that effort that they put out.
I know it.
The effort the last few weeks, and the fact that Dan Campbell keeps saying, "Oh, we're not panicking," is making me mad because I think they should be panicking and getting a little bit of urgency in that building because they didn't play with that urgency at all the last few weeks. Like
Right.
it's just absolutely gone.
Yep, they're in some kind of a slump, and I don't know.
I don't even know if it's a slump. I think they're just, I don't want to even call it cocky, but it's like they're nope, we're good. Like it's almost denial.
Yeah.
That's where it's bugging me. And I mean, again, I'm sure there's regular fans out there whose teams are usually pretty consistent, and so they don't think the sky is falling when they lose a game. But here, it's like I feel like we have a better team than our record indicates. I feel like they should have played a lot better, and we're sitting here saying like, "Well, we have all these problems. Why aren't we addressing them?" And the coach just saying, "No, we're good. They're not problems." I mean, well, when your defense is letting the offense move up and down the field the way they've been, I mean, I think there's a problem.
Some of the play calls in certain situations, I have to scratch my head at. The run game was working. They kind of got away from it. Trying to throw on first down, which put them in a bad situation right
That's
from
their
there.
big bugaboo, right? I think in the third quarter, we've talked about they're really bad this year in the third quarter. Like one of the worst teams just in terms of I think like putting up points and like doing anything in the third quarter. And they always they go away from like running it and they throw it on first down. They set themselves in a hole. Then they get a penalty. It's just undisciplined football, terrible play calling. And you know what? At this point, let Ben Johnson become a head coach somewhere else because I kind of don't want him around anymore. I'm getting that tired of Ben Johnson's play calling. Getting too cute at times. Keep moving your offensive lineman. Oh, we're gonna shift Penei Sewell from right tackle. We're gonna put him in the left guard position as a motion. Like you did that 3 times, and it's just you're being too cute. Just run the damn ball.
He's called some great games this season.
He has, but
and I just don't know what the difference is or why he's getting away from what has worked all season long. I know you try to, change things up because people, start to get an idea of what you're doing all the time. But, some of the things that are working, which is pound the ball with our 2 running backs and, hit certain receivers. I mean, the whole thing with Laporta is still working great. I mean, he's there in certain situations. He's always like your go-to guy, and he'll catch the ball over the middle in traffic and get you the first down.
Well, that was another thing. Like these Lions receivers were dropping balls left and right, and that's very uncharacteristic.
Well, that could have been
a
little bit of the weather.
It could have been, but I don't know. I just think they got some issues they need to figure out, and I think they need to figure out how to use their talented players because you're not using Jamison Williams the way I think you should be. You're clearly not using your 2 running backs the way like you'll do it great for a quarter, then you get away from it. It's like, well, go back to that. So I don't know. I love the Lions, but at the same time, I hate them so much right now. They're in the doghouse. But we need to move on.
Yes, we do.
The Cincinnati Bengals defeated the Indianapolis Colts 34-14. It was the Bengals win that essentially eliminated the New England Patriots we talked about earlier on. The Cleveland Browns defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-27. Trevor Lawrence even came back and played in this game, which was a bit of a surprise when they said he was coming back because I know he had that ankle injury. The New Orleans Saints got a win over the Panthers 28-6. The New York Jets got a big win over the Houston Texans 30-6. Zach Wilson coming back into the starting position there and looking very good while doing it. And one thing I forgot to mention, we didn't have this in the notes, but the Cleveland Browns, I don't know what they're doing. They had Joe Flacco. Real quick. They had Joe Flacco play as their quarterback. They just signed him. He comes in, he plays great, he leads them to a win. They say he's going to be the starter the rest of the season. Then he ends up back on the practice squad where anybody can sign him. I don't know what's happening there in Cleveland. Can somebody explain that to me, please?
I didn't know they put him back on the practice squad.
Yeah, that's something that happened yesterday. They put him back on the practice squad, which means he was eligible to be picked up by anybody.
Right.
Which I wish somebody would sweep in and take him because, like, why do we want Cleveland to have a decent quarterback
Yeah.
again? How about this barn burner? What are you doing over there? You keep dipping
I
in,
got a
dipping.
cough drop to keep me from coughing.
Oh well, stop. You're annoying me.
Don't look at me.
I keep looking over and you're like spit. You're like leaning over, spitting out and putting it in.
Well,
Good
I don't want it in
Lord.
my mouth because it'll be clicking in my mouth, but I need it every now and then to keep my.
Well, then take a sip. You got 3 drinks over
Yeah,
there.
those don't
Goodness
work.
gracious.
Those don't work.
Anyway,
Focus,
you
son,
know what else
focus.
doesn't work? Apparently, the Raiders don't work because they fell to the Vikings 3-0. It was like watching a hockey game or a soccer game where you only got 3 points to
I didn't
nil.
watch any of that game, but what a terrible game
Boy,
that
oh
must
boy!
have been.
I mean, it came down to the end of regulation. They kicked that
Yeah,
field goal.
like 2
final.
minutes to go, the winning field goal got kicked. in that game.
Unbelievable! I feel bad for anybody who had to watch that game.
Yeah.
The San Francisco 49ers defeated the Seattle Seahawks 28-16, clinching a playoff spot with, and we'll get to them in a minute, a Packers loss. So 49ers, the first team officially in the playoffs.
Yep.
The Buffalo Bills had a big upset win against the Kansas City Chiefs,
Yeah, they
20-17. And the big story from this game was, boy, oh boy, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are a couple of big old crybabies because Tooney, the wide receiver there, Tony, the receiver for the Chiefs, was like lined up offsides on a great play, an amazing play where Travis Kelce catches the ball and throws it back to Tony. I keep wanting to say Tony for the touchdown. Called back because Tony was offsides, and they kept saying
his foot
no,
was
he
in the neutral
wasn't.
zone.
What, the referees didn't say anything to him, and like.
But I've seen so many plays this year where somebody's hand is in the neutral zone and it never gets called. And it's bothered me for a long time.
Yeah.
They decided to call it last night on that play, which was a spectacular play.
It was a spectacular play.
Kelsey's girlfriend there, Taylor Swift, she was going crazy.
Who's that?
What's her face? Taylor Swift.
Yeah, who's she?
Some singer. I don't know.
Okay.
That's his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And they said that was his wife on the broadcast. I don't know if you heard that. The announcer said, "Oh, and there's
Brittany Mahomes?
Travis Kelce's wife. I mean, girlfriend."
Oh. Maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
But regardless, I mean, you hate to see a great play like that called back. But then, if you're Patrick Mahomes, and that was like a second down play, and all that's getting played is that play and how that, I won't say cost him the game, but it's like, well, if you're Patrick Mahomes, come back and do it again.
Right.
You could still, you have a shot. But man, to see him kind of blow up the way he did at the end of the game, which I get is frustrating, and I get, and even Andy Reid kind of talking smack about the officials, but he was offsides, guys. Like
he was offside,
and they came off as crybabies. It was the worst opinion I've had of the Chiefs in a very long time, just in terms of the way they acted after that game. And Patrick Mahomes, when he went to shake Josh Allen's hand, didn't say like "good job." It was just that was a crappy call or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. That's all he said, and I'm like,
I know
that's not how you conduct yourself, dude. Come on.
He obviously lost it.
Very bad.
He's
Moment
apologized for it since that he never should have done that. It's not the way to treat people and not the way to act. They might both get fined by the league. Who knows?
Oh, I'm sure.
Anytime you rip the officials, they fine you because they don't want to hear that. Even though it's true, they don't want to hear. The league does not want to hear that.
Yeah, sorry, the NFL. You can fine me all you want because I think your officials have been dog doo-doo this year.
Yeah, they're bad.
All right, then the Denver Broncos defeated the Los Angeles Chargers 24-7 in a game that saw Justin Herbert go down in this one. I guess we can talk about that right now.
Yeah, he's already had surgery on a broken index finger.
Broken index finger. He'll be out for the rest of the year. He is now the latest quarterback in a long laundry list of starters that have just been shut down for the year. Starting with Aaron Rodgers, who may or may not still come back.
Poor plays. I don't think he will. His team's too crappy. He's not going to come back.
They say he could still be activated here soon, so we'll see.
He's just holding that carrot out.
So he went down. Deshaun Watson went down. Kenny Pickett went down. I'm trying to go through the list of other starters in my head that just went down. Kirk Cousins going down for the Vikings.
A number of them. And even if they're not out for the season, a lot of quarterbacks have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
And been out for a few weeks, and then they've come back.
Unprecedented just number of guys just getting hurt this year. It's unbelievable.
A number of them were all Achilles injuries, too, early on. Had 3 or 4, and you don't hear that every year.
Absolutely crazy.
It used to be ACLs or knee injuries or whatever, high ankle sprains. But, yeah, this year has been a lot of Achilles tendons injuries.
Yeah. And then your Sunday night game saw the Dallas Cowboys just absolutely thump the Philadelphia Eagles 33-13. This also helps the Cowboys take first place in the NFC East.
Mm.
That definitely changes up the playoff seedings right now, which
I thought it might be a little bit better game. I thought Dallas would win because Philadelphia was kind of exposed the week before in their game.
Dallas usually has been playing pretty good at home.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit closer game than that. But boy, they just
I think
manhandled
they
them.
said that Dallas also broke a record for like the most 30-point games
Mm.
like in their home stadium in a row or something crazy. They're hanging up 30 points a game at home, which is absolutely insane. Then we had a Monday night doubleheader, starting with the Tennessee Titans defeating the Miami Dolphins 28-27. The Titans came back in this one. I didn't watch this one. I was mainly watching the Packers Giants game, which we'll talk about in a second. But in the Dolphins had a 14-point lead with, what'd they say, 4 minutes left, something like that at the end of the game.
I think so.
And the Titans found a way, claw back, and
Yep.
win this game, which
Yep.
is the first time ever in NFL history that a team down 14 points has made a comeback with less than, I want to say it was 4 minutes. There was a stat out there
Right,
that I
yeah,
saw that they,
right around 3 or 4 minutes to go.
and yeah, because the Lions just did it a couple weeks ago when they were down by 12.
Right.
But to do it by 14 of, something else, those 2 points are huge. So the Titans did it. They pulled it off. And to me, this Dolphins team goes from like looking like one of the best teams to just like, man, they can also fold like lawn chairs.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins got the ball back. I watched some of the highlights after the game was over. I was flipping back and forth. I mean, I was watching the Manning cast, and I was also watching some other stuff because the games were a little bit boring. But they got real good at the end. But yeah, the Dolphins did get the ball back, and they were starting to work their way down the field, and they called the worst play ever on a fourth down. And they needed like 2-3 yards or something like that. They didn't even get it,
Yeah.
and that was it. Game over.
I didn't even see the Manning cast. Did they do both games?
Yes, they did. And
Oh, okay.
that was my comment. The two games at the same time. They both kicked off at the same time, and they tried to go back and forth, kind of like NFL Red Zone or whatever. As soon as somebody was in the red zone, they'd go watch that game for a little bit, and then they'd switch back. I'm telling you, my mind or my my head was spinning from what game am I watching now? I'm not sure what's going
Because
on.
like when
It
they,
was too confusing.
because like I was looking and I didn't see anything about a Manning cast when I went to look at it, but
Yeah,
I could pull both games up on my TV and have
Right.
watch them at the same
I
time.
think
But
one was ABC, one was ESPN, but
luckily with YouTube TV, I could watch both games at one time
Right.
and just go back and forth between the audio.
yeah,
But
no, there was a Manning
I didn't know the
cast
Manning
going.
cast. Yeah,
Yep.
because I just assumed like, oh, if they're doing a double header game, there's no way they're gonna have a Manning cast for it.
Yeah.
But I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, no, they did, and it was a bit too much. I mean, I love the Manning cast, but
Right.
boy, having two games going, don't do that again,
Yeah.
NFL.
And then the final Monday night game of that doubleheader, the Green Bay Packers fell to the New York Giants 24-22. How about Tommy DeVito?
Yeah,
And did you see his agent?
yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm not one to stereotype, but boy, oh boy, that is a typical Italian mobster if I've ever seen one in my life.
Yeah, you won't get this reference, but in the old Mad magazine, they had a cartoon called Spy versus Spy.
I know Spy versus Spy.
One was all dressed in white, one was all dressed in white.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what he looked
He
like.
did kind of. Well, I thought he looked like he jumped straight out of Goodfellas or The Godfather. This dude, this agent. But then, did you see the video of him, the agent, in the stand with Tommy DeVito's dad, and they like kissed each other on the cheek after a big play? Oh my! It was the most Italian thing I've ever seen. It was absolutely something like just straight out of like a movie. It was just like, is this real? Is this real life right now? But I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Good for Tommy DeVito and good for the Giants. And thank you, Giants, for beating the Packers.
I was watching that game, and I was, obviously rooting against the Packers.
Right.
And when they scored the touchdown to take the lead, I kind of went away and I was watching something else because I thought, well, this is over with. But I was so glad to find out later that the Giants worked their way down the field and kicked a field goal as time expired to win the game. That made me so happy.
Yeah.
So happy.
Yeah. And that is it for the NFL scoreboard this week. So we're going to throw it over to Dad. And we only had one game in the main college
At the
football.
FBS level, yes.
Yeah.
There was only one game last week, and that was on Saturday, week 15. The 124th playing of the Army-Navy game, in which Army defeated Navy by the score of 17-11. Army was in control most of this game. I watched a good portion of this game, and I wasn't really paying attention because Army was so in control. But Navy made a comeback at the end, and they were down at the 1 yard line with 10 seconds to go, or somewhere right about there, and down by 8 points. So they had a chance to possibly tie it up and send it into overtime. But Army stopped them on a fourth down, kept them out of the end zone for the win. And then on their final play, because they got the ball back with like 3 seconds, and the ball's at their own, half-yard line. They just took a safety just to be sure. That's where the 2 points came in at the end. So it would have been 17-9 otherwise, but it didn't matter at that point. They had the game won. Uh, Army finishes the season with a 6-6 record. Navy's at 5-7. The game was played at the Patriots Stadium, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. And through 2027, this game is going to be rotating between a couple of different NFL stadiums. Normally, it's always in Philadelphia
Right.
every year, but next year it's going to be at let's see,
MetLife.
is it MetLife?
I'm looking at 2024 FedEx Field. 2025 M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. 2026 back to MetLife.
Okay.
2027 back to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so the three different stadiums before they go back to Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia in a couple of years. So, I mean, they've played it in Chicago many years ago. They played it out in Los Angeles, but for the most part, it's always in Philadelphia. So yeah, so it's going on the road for a couple of years, but all on the East Coast. But congratulations to Army for winning the Commander-in-Chief's trophy between Army, Navy, and Air Force. Great uniforms they had also.
Yeah, both very unique.
Yep. All right, and FCS scores. This was the quarterfinal round at the FCS level. South Dakota State defeated Villanova 23-12. University of Albany over Idaho 30-22. Montana over Furman 35-28 in overtime, and North Dakota State over South Dakota 45-14. At the Division II level, this was their semifinal weekend. Harding over Lenore Rhine 55-14. The Colorado School of Mines over Kutztown 35-7. So that sets up the Division II championship game on Saturday the 16th. That's this coming Saturday. Harding versus the Colorado School of Mines in McKinney, Texas. I guess this is the second straight year that the Colorado School of Mines has played for a national championship.
I got a friend that lives down there, graduated with, who lives down in McKinney, Texas now.
Really?
So
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Division III level, also their semifinal weekend. Cortland over Randolph-Macon, 49-14, and North Central of Illinois over Wartburg, 34-27. That sets up their Division III National Championship game, also known as the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl, this Friday night, December 15th, in Salem, Virginia. And then the NAIA playoffs, their semifinal weekend. Also, it was Kaiser, or do you think that's pronounced Keiser? Kei? I've been calling it Kaiser, but I think it might be Keiser.
I mean, that's a Kaiser to me.
Well, I think Kaiser would be Kai. This is Kei.
Yeah.
Kaiser or Keiser over the College of Idaho, 28-21. Northwestern over Georgetown of Kentucky, 35-10. So their championship game is going to be played on Monday, December 18th, where Keiser is going to be taking on Northwestern in Durham, North Carolina.
I'm sure somebody will correct you.
Yeah, I wish they would. I want to know how to pronounce that.
This is Northwestern, not from the Big Ten, but this is a different
right,
Northwestern.
So, yeah, it's an NAIA school. I'm
Yeah.
not sure where they're from. Let's see. And then finally, in the junior college football level, no games last week, but their championship game is going to be tomorrow between East Mississippi and Iowa Western, and that's going to take place in Little Rock, Arkansas. So we'll have that score for you next week. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard.
Wow.
All the colleges and NFL are coming to an end here pretty soon.
Yep, and it was very light on news this week. So, we don't even have any NFL news. We kind of touched on all the little bits during the scores, but
right.
I mean, we did have the big news out of college this week, which I guess you're going to take away.
Yeah, we'll go right to college news. The Heisman Trophy was awarded to quarterback Jayden Daniels of LSU. It was Joe Burrow who won the Heisman Trophy in 2019 out of LSU. So they've had a couple of Heisman Trophy winners in the last few years. Daniels played at Arizona State from 2019 to 2021, and then he transferred to LSU in 2022. So he's had 2 years at LSU and led him to a national, not a national championship, but a Heisman Trophy.
Heisman Trophy. And if you look at his, just going from where he was last year to this year, I got his stats pulled up. Like his completion percentage last year went from 68.6% to 72.2%. I think that's a significant improvement there. And he did it on less attempts too. Because in 2022, he was like 266 of 388. This year, 236 for out of 327. And he upped his yardage too. So his production just went up astronomically. He threw for 2,913 yards in 2022. For his Heisman campaign, 3,812 yards. So that's almost a 901 yard, 900 or 899 yard difference.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that math right in my head. Last year he threw 17 touchdowns and 3 picks. This year, 40 touchdowns and 4 picks. So, just increase of production across all, the whole board. And then he also went from rushing the ball last year for 885 yards to 1,134 rushing yards this year, including 10 touchdowns this year. He had 11 last year, so he dropped off a little bit, but still, I mean, unbelievable production this guy seems to have had, and the fact that he just kind of stepped everything up. And he was a name that I don't remember hearing a lot during the season, but as we got closer to this Heisman vote,
Right.
his was kind of the hot name that kind of came out. I admittedly didn't really watch much Jayden Daniels play, but now I'm going to have to keep an eye out for him. I hope he plays in the bowl game. I'd like to check him out a little bit, see where he ends up in the draft, because I mean, he should be declared eligible this year. I mean, he's been playing for 5 years in college.
Yeah.
But then following right behind him, Penix, the quarterback out of Washington, was a second place vote. Bo Nix at third, a quarterback out of Oregon, and then Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver out of Ohio State, with fourth. Little bum Marvin Harrison didn't get it, but Marvin Harrison could be coming back next year anyway. We'll see if that NIL money that he supposedly could be getting keeps him in college, or if he makes the jump to the NFL next year. But I mean, still, it does bum me out. I don't know how you feel, but it does bum me out that the Heisman Trophy is essentially a quarterback award still. It bums me out.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be spread out.
It's disproportionately leaning towards quarterbacks. So
Yeah.
You got a few running backs, maybe a safety here and there.
And I'm not even saying that to discourage, the play that some of these quarterbacks have. I mean, like, heck of a season for Jayden Daniels there. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying there's got to be more than just quarterbacks and wide receivers out there. And even running, I can't even name the last running back that won Heisman Trophy. I mean, I guess I could go to your website and tell you. 2015, Derrick Henry, the last running back to win Heisman Trophy. The last non-quarterback was Devontae Smith back in 2020. And to go back even further, the last non-quarterback, wide receiver, or running back to get it, you have to go to, and boy, I'm scrolling, and
the guy from Michigan, defensive back there, shoot.
You're talking about Charles Woodson?
I think so, yes.
Charles Woodson, 1997, is the cornerback that got him. Yep, that's the last non-quarterback. It's just, is he the only defensive player to ever win the Heisman?
I think he might be. He just might be.
I mean, I'm like scrolling back. You had some ends, it looked like, that won the Heisman Trophy back in the day, like early days.
Right.
Ends got it.
Back when they just called him an end, not a tight end, but an end meant you were a defensive end and a tight end, or, and on offense. So you played both ways.
So, I mean, the goal, the dream, I guess, is to not see a quarterback, to not see a wide receiver or a running back get this award. I would love to see just some other player get it. So.
The only numbers I'll mention about this.
And you, by the way, you probably should update your website, because Bryce Young has still got a question mark next to his first pro team.
Yeah.
Your website could use a little updating there, sir.
I know. Let's see. The only numbers I'll mention here, Jayden Daniels got 503 first place votes for the Heisman Trophy, and Michael Penix in second place got 292. And then, poor Florida State, their quarterback, Jordan Travis, only got 8 first place votes, but he came in 5th in the voting, just out of the top 4, just like his school.
Not bad for a guy that was hurt for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Imagine what kind of voting he would have got if he would have stayed healthy. I mean, you hate to see it, but
Okay, let's see. Peyton's Places. I watched episode 8. Now I don't know if there's going to be any more this season, because the first year that he did this, season 1, he had 30 episodes. And then the second season was 15 episodes. Last year he had 9 episodes, which I thought was an odd number. I thought there was going to be a 10th one, but after watching the 9th one, he was all, like, wrapping it up the whole season. So I said, well, I guess this is it, 9. So here they are at 8 episodes this year. I don't know if that's the last one. He didn't kind of wrap things up like it was the season end, so I think there might be one or two more at least this year. We'll see. But this was a good one. It was called Death of a Stadium, and they were talking about RFK Stadium where the Redskins used to play. The place has been abandoned since 1996, but it's still standing. They have not torn it down yet for whatever reason. They're still waiting for some permits to be approved or whatever.
For almost 30 years?
Yes,
Good
yes.
Lord.
And so he went there with former Washington players Darryl Green, Joe Theismann, Larry Brown, and Jeff Bostic. And boy, they told some stories about playing there, and the story about Theismann breaking his leg there, and all this other stuff. But it was a really, really good episode. It was kind of emotional at the end. They were burying some artifacts on the field, to bury the stadium, and it was cool. It was a really good episode. Like I said, I like everything Peyton does except for that last Manning cast. Man, those going back and forth between those two games was just too much. Even in the past, when games have started at different times, don't do a Manning cast that night. If you want to watch one game, go to this channel. If you want to watch the other game, go to this one, or do a picture-in-picture yourself. But boy, having the Mannings jump around between those two games gave me a headache. That's why I had to stop watching every now and then and go watch something else. But yeah, another good episode. Peyton's Places on ESPN Plus. Check it out. That was episode 8 that dropped this last Sunday, and hopefully there'll be another one this Sunday. All right, today's birthdays. December 12th, defensive lineman John Randall turns 56 today. He played his college football at Texas A&M Kingston. He played 14 NFL seasons. He signed as a free agent with the Minnesota Vikings in 1990 and played for the team through 2000. He finished his playing career with the Seattle Seahawks from 2001 to 2003 and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2010. Not bad for a free agent that was never even drafted by anybody. And then the other one is defensive lineman Mike Golick, turned 61 today. Played his college football at Notre Dame, 8 NFL seasons for him. Selected in the 10th round of the 1985 NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers, where he played in 1986 and 87. He was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles during the 1987 season and played with Philly through 1993. Finished his playing career with the Miami Dolphins in 1994, but he's best known, just like John Madden. People forget he was a coach with Mike Golick. Everybody knows him from Mike and Mike on ESPN. You used to watch that all the time.
I loved Mike and Mike. Him and Mike Greenberg, just great pairing. I know they kind of had their falling out there towards the end, but I mean, heck of a voice. I miss him greatly. Just
he was good.
And
he
the
brought
fact
a
that he
good perspective to the game.
Yeah, the fact that and he was just a fun. He made it fun to talk about sports. Sometimes
I love their Halloween shows when they dress up.
Yeah, that was always great. Yeah, so Mike Golick will always be one of those personalities that I'll think about fondly. That Mike and Mike show was one of the best shows ESPN did.
Yeah, and even his son, Mike Golick Jr., was on that for a while.
A little bit, yeah, when they transitioned into Golick and Wingo. And well, it was still fun, but it did kind of lose something. There was just some magic between Mike and Mike. And
Greenberg's still on ESPN.
Green, and I'll listen to Greeny now and then, but it's also not the same. I like listening to you, but there's just something missing, and it's Mike Golick. That's what's missing. And
well, I think it's because Golick always used to point out that Greenberg never played sport, and a lot of times didn't know what he was talking about.
It was always a good back and forth. It was a good you got the outside sport perspective, the inside the sport perspective, and then you could see both sides of the it was interesting to see both sides at all times. So opposites attract, unlike you and me. We're practically the same person. That's why our show is not Mike and Mike.
Yeah, thanks for the insult.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Obituaries. We have 2 of them today. This is where we'll take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first one is Frank Wycheck, a tight end in the NFL for 11 seasons, has passed away at the age of 52. Something about he suffered a fall, and I didn't have a whole lot of details about it, but yeah, he suffered a fall recently, and they think that's what caused his death. But young age of 52. Wycheck played college football at Maryland and was selected in the 6th round of the 1993 NFL Draft by the Washington Redskins. He played for Washington in 1993 and 1994. He also played for the Houston Oilers from 95 to 96, and then the team moved to Tennessee, and so he played for the Tennessee Titans from 97 to 2003. He threw the lateral pass in the Music City Miracle game against the Buffalo Bills. Everybody remembers that. Wycheck went on to be a color commentator on the Tennessee Titans radio network from 2005 to 2016, and he also co-hosted a morning sports talk radio show in Nashville, Tennessee from 2004 to 2017.
Yeah, when that came through, I think it was during the Lions game on Sunday, that news kind of came through, and I turned to you and I was like, "Oh, whoa, this, Frank Wycheck just passed
Yeah,
away."
I remember the name. I didn't remember, who he played for or the
I
fact that
mean,
he
I
threw
think of
that
him. Yeah,
pass.
I picture that Music City Miracle
Yeah,
pass, and
yeah.
I remember him being a good player.
Mhm.
For many years when he
Very
was in the league.
recognizable
So
name, that's for
yeah.
sure.
All right, our next and final obituary this week is that of Ron Fernandez, a defensive lineman in the NFL, the USFL, and the World Football League, has passed away at the age of 72. Fernandez played college football at Eastern Michigan and was selected in the 10th round of the 1973 NFL draft by the Miami Dolphins. However, he signed with the Detroit Wheels of the World Football League and played for the team in 1974. He went on to play for the NFL's Baltimore Colts from 1976 to 1979 and finished his playing career in the USFL with the New Jersey Generals and the Washington Federals in 1983.
That's kind of cool when you see a guy that's played in 3 different leagues like that.
Yeah.
That's what the world of football is all about. We cover all these old leagues, and it's pretty cool when you have somebody that's, you know, had something to do with all of them.
Right.
Whether coached in all the leagues
right.
or played in all the leagues.
And nowadays, it's going to be fewer and fewer because we mainly just have the
Right, yeah.
NFL, and I mean,
Yep.
we had the XFL and the
Yep,
USFL,
coming back, but
and it's just nothing was as big as that USFL back in the day,
right.
and so
Yeah, it was great for 3 years, and it's not the same coming back now because these players are just there for one season trying to get into the NFL. Or
right.
whatever.
Same,
Back then, they signed these guys to 3 and 4 and 10-year
Yeah.
lifetime contracts to be in the USFL back in the 80s.
Yeah, and then you got like other smaller leagues like the Arena League, some of these
Right.
indoor leagues. Who knows when those will start popping up in, on these guys' bylines. But
Right.
I mean, it's just I don't know. I just see a name like that, and I'm like, dang, the World Football League, the USFL,
Yep.
the NFL. Like, what I could just picture that era.
Yeah.
As soon as you hear that, so
Yeah, a lot of pro football going on at that time.
yeah.
World Football League wasn't that great, but the USFL was, and you never know. And then there was also NFL Europe and
Right.
all these different leagues. So we'll see what happens in the years to come. But like you said, these guys like this are going to be few and far between as the years go by.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, our upcoming events calendar. Tomorrow, December 13th, the National Junior College Athletic Association Division I Championship game, East Mississippi versus Iowa Western. Friday, December 15th, the Division III National Championship game, also known as the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl, Cortland versus North Central of Illinois. Saturday the 16th, the FBS bowl season begins. There's a couple of bowls that day, and then it's like every day after that for the next couple of weeks. Sunday the 17th of December, the Koshian Bowl, the college football national championship game in Japan. I was texting with our man in Japan, Greg James, the other day, and I said, make sure you keep us updated on that score when it's played. I'm not sure what the time difference is so weird
Well, I'm
between us
sure.
and Japan. So, but he said he would let us know what the outcome was. And then Saturday, January 6th, the FCS championship game is going to be played in Frisco, Texas. Monday, January 8th, the FBS College Football National Championship game in Houston. And finally, Sunday, February 4th, I'm sorry, not finally, Sunday, February 4th, the Pro Bowl games in Orlando, yuck. And then finally, Sunday, February 11th, Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas. After that, we might take a little break, and we'll see.
We'll see
before
what
the
happens.
arena season starts. I think in April, and some of the other leagues might start up in March. The indoor leagues. We'll see what's going on.
We'll have to play that by ear.
Yeah, we might need some time off to figure out the whole new technology thing with our new mics. And
Yeah,
stuff.
well, we also got a Christmas break, and once I get a little time, I can help. But man,
yeah. All right. Anything else that's popped up on your phone before we close out this show?
Nothing big or major. Just some little bit of college news. Transfer portal stuff. The Vikings announced that their other quarterback's going to start over Joshua Dobbs. Nick Mullins will start for the Vikings. Another story I saw real quick before we send it out is the North Carolina Duke. Sorry, former Duke quarterback Riley Leonard is going to transfer to Notre Dame.
Mm.
So transfer portal is hot. So
Yeah, a week or two ago, there were several players from Ohio State that were
yeah,
jumping ship
including
there.
their starting quarterback,
Wow.
which I mean, I was a little bit surprised by. Yeah,
Yeah.
you lost to Michigan,
Yeah,
but
really.
I didn't think, that's something to just transfer over, but
Hmm.
maybe something else is going on behind the scenes there. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, you never know. All right. Well, that's all the time we've got for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can follow the World of Football on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just look for us by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast to hear us on whatever Alexa devices you may have. You can also find the full audio version of this show on our YouTube channel. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo in the search bar, or use the handle www. At the world of www.
No.
No, it's
If you're using the handle.
No, the handle is different. It's youtube.com/at the world of football.
No, but
There
if you put at the world of football in the search bar, you will go right to our page.
Well, that too. So
that's my point.
But also in the search, yeah, whatever. You wrote that weird. Been saying it weird. I've had to say it differently this whole time.
You've
so
been saying
please,
it wrong every time.
whatever. Surprise. So please spread the word and subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation. And after we hit our little threshold goal, that kind of got us into the monetization.
Yeah,
area.
that's still a work in progress.
It's a work in progress.
Like two more steps we got to go through.
A few, but I mean, we're on our way. But now you might notice on some of the videos, for those of you eagle-eyed viewers out there is a donate button. We're not begging for money. We're not asking you guys to do it.
We didn't ask that it be put there. It just all of a sudden showed up.
Well, I mean, I said it there. It's just.
Did you?
It's a setting that you set. But I just put it there. I was like, look, if people want to, you can. We are not asking for money.
Right.
At some point, I would like to actually do something for charity. I haven't even talked to you about this. It was just, I at some point thought, you know what, if we can make money, it would also be cool to also at some point give back. Because I don't think we should be making people pay for our content.
No, we're never going to ask people to pay for anything.
No, I mean, there might be, this is way down the road. But it'd be like, if there's certain content we wanted to put out there, like, yeah, maybe you'd be like, hey, for certain stuff, we'll be like, hey, just $5 a month, and maybe you'll get, I don't know, some exclusive content. I would like to at some point, ideally do like the World of Football live, as like we do a weekly live version of this show, or a version of us talking, where we could interact with people live on YouTube, and if people want to submit questions for $1, like we can. That's how YouTube works, Randy. I know.
I don't.
This is all the scared look on your face.
I don't like begging for money, and I never.
I don't either, but that's the business.
I know it. I know that's how YouTube works.
We're trending in that direction where we are almost a full-fledged business, and once they start taking money from us, we're a business, and we got to start making money.
No, the only thing I want to do is I want to make add some commercials, and we'll make our money that way. Unfortunately, people will have to sit through a 10-second commercial or something at the beginning, maybe in the middle of it if there's a long video. But other than that, I'm not gonna put anything out there where somebody has to pay before they get something.
We are way, like I said, way far from that. I'm just saying, like, at some point, I don't ever want to make people pay for content. I do think that is a little weird, but there is a certain point where maybe like our normal threshold is like, hey, look, you're still gonna get your podcast for free. You're still gonna get like some of the normal shows we just throw up on YouTube for free. But like maybe like at some point we do start doing like, I won't say premium content because there's nothing premium about us. But like if we wanted to do like, we're gonna do a weekly arena football show, a specific arena football show, maybe then it's like, well, if you want to see that, yeah, maybe like $5 extra because that's extra work for us. So I don't know. It's we're so far from that. I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Well, one other thing I want to mention to you before we end this is that your mom and I are going down to Kentucky again next week. And she was saying, well, are there any graves we can visit down there? And I did find a couple around the Nashville, Tennessee area, a couple of players that might make a good video. So, if we go to Nashville, Tennessee for an arena game next spring, we just might do that.
Yeah.
They're two separate cemeteries, but they're both in the Nashville area, so I think that's very doable. We could do it, make a video out of that. But while we're going down there this time, there is another grave I'm going to go to. This one is not football related, but I found the grave of country singer Hank Snow.
Oh.
And so we're gonna go by, and I'll post a picture of that when we get down there.
Yeah, we still got to work on the last
Yes, the last two.
grave trip for the year that you
Yeah.
got. Yeah, we gotta figure that out. Christmas break will be coming. We'll probably get those turned out, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, so spread the word, subscribe, rate, review, like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be part of the football conversation. And of course, if you guys got thoughts on what we should do down the road with the YouTube channel, shoot, I'd listen to that. What are you guys into? We do this, partially for us. We just like talking football, but I
Right.
mean, we've also clearly people like seeing our arena videos, and
Yeah,
people.
that's gotten a lot of
There's-
views.
there's
Every time we do
certain-
something arena football.
Yeah, but there's also other stuff. People are like, hey, it'd be cool if you guys did, talked a little more history lessons. Yeah, we could get back. I mean, that's the plan is to get back to more history lessons, but
Yeah. Well,
time is the problem.
what we're doing right now is we're going back over a lot of history lessons that we've done over the last 6 years, and we're just making them video because they were just an audio history lesson on the audio podcast. Now we're doing making them into videos. So, all right. Remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us idiots sitting here in Kalamazoo. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
And I will hopefully not be as frustrated next week with our audio situation.
Yeah, really. See you all next week.